Hello, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with Deborah and Ioannis, Exploring the Nature of Belief. I'm Ioannis, as you probably have guessed, and that beautiful creature over there is
Deborah. And
Deborah.
And you always say such beautiful things, and I'm truly grateful for them.
Well, you deserve them all, darling. You're looking radiant today, absolutely radiant. We say this because we're not in the same room. We're at 12,000 miles away from each other, apart. So anyway, without any further gushing or ado, we're going to go into the topic of today's talk. And the topic of today's talk is, why don't spiritual teachers enlighten us for free? Everyone thinks, well, if you're doing service, and that's part of the thing about being a spiritual teacher, is service is part of your growth. Why do they, and some charge a lot. Why do they charge us? So what do you think, Deborah? Why do they charge us? Or why don't they do it for free?
It's interesting, this one. I've seen over the years many people almost, or I'll use the example of lose their faith around money, because we put so much value on money, the physical fiat money, and we've become it's almost like a program around money. And I use an example. I remember someone that was really committed in the church and loved Father, Mother, God, God. And around the tithes, at about the age of 22, 23, actually had a major wobble and said, this is all a money-making racket, and never went back to church again. And that was a really interesting thing for me, because I was about 20 at the time. And and he's never been back again because of his feelings around the church and money. And for me, it's always been interesting, because I've never had that. I've observed when there's been things that are not quite right. But money for me is more, now as I've matured and I've grown, and that I realize money is more, it's an energy. We have placed value on the currency or the note, because it is how we survive. So but if we go into the spiritual, it really is an energy. And so it's an exchange of energy. And I have never had a heart condition around paying for somebody that is giving me a spiritual exchange. So for me, there's never been a question or an issue around the money. But I know it's a huge stumbling block for a lot of people.
It is. Well, a few things come to mind when I ponder this question. And the first is, if you think it's expensive, then you're in a bit of a state of lack. Because one of the main platforms of all our teachings, all the teachings that Deborah and I do that we listen to, is that you are a powerful co-creator. So manifesting is our business. Creation is our business. If we can't manifest the money to give an exchange for the value we get from the help along our journey, yet we'll go and pay $30,000 or £20,000 for a car, that when we've got a perfectly good car, we just like a nicer car or something like that, and yet we won't pay $1,000, whatever it is, $500 to get a few sessions with a spiritual, or one session, whatever it is. Yeah. Some spiritual teachers really value what they transmit. They believe that they are getting great content, they're giving great value, and that if you really want it, you've got to show that you want it, and you want the exchange, and then you've got to give something, which brings my second point in, the law of reciprocity. You must give to get. This is the nature of the balance of the universe. Energy, as Deborah says, if we think of money as an energy, and there's obviously a balance. Energy can't be created and it can't be destroyed. So if a whole load of energy comes your way, you have to give an energy in return. It's just the way that's the balance of the universe. If you're always taking and not giving,
I think
you're in balance. There'll be a karmic retribution to that sort of even that thinking. So if you're in scarcity, that why do they charge? Often, when you think that people charge too much, is attached to the feeling that I don't have enough, and that's a feeling of lack.
And another thing is, I've always seen when you look at people that have a resentment towards having to pay towards a certain service, it's a great yardstick of where their heart is at.
It is.
It's totally, and especially around money, where your heart is. I look at it as an example like this. You will go to a doctor if you're sick, and you won't think anything of paying whatever it is, $60, $70, $80 or whatever. But I'm using the example of the church. I would go to church twice, maybe 3 times a week. And if I think of my pastor or my spiritual leader as a doctor who's giving me a service, and I go on a Sunday, and I go to Bible study on a Thursday, and I go on Wednesday for prayer, that's 3 sessions. If I put him in the same bracket as a healer, a doctor, that I should actually be paying him. So if I take the $60 or the $65 times the number of hours, times the number of times I go a month, it's a substantial amount of money. So why do we think differently? For me, with my faith, it was always a case of my spiritual leader knowing that I go to somebody that I have trust, love, respect for. Why must he go without? Why must it be free? Why don't I show him the same respect? And it's always been a question. We kind of like have this, and I think it's something that has been programmed into us, that certain aspects or our spiritual life has kind of like become, it's almost like those people that have the most influence or should have the most influence on our lives or almost have to be hand in, what do you call it, hat in hand. They've become, they're supposed to be like almost like beggars, and yet we place such huge value on what they tell us for our spiritual life. Shouldn't it be the other way around? You know, I look at the example of Jesus. You know, if you just look at Jesus's ministry, the 3-year period, he had his disciples, and that's also debatable, you know, depending on what you believe, and, you know. But if you look at who financed his ministry, you can go, I think it's in Luke chapter 8, go and have a look. His ministry was financed by 3 women. Mary Magdalene, I think it was Joanna, Susanna. They were very, very influential, powerful women that used their properties, their money, all their assets to finance Yeshua, Lord Jesus's ministry. So they paid for his ministry. And for me, that's always been kind of like, the church doesn't talk much about it, but it's a huge thing. That was their, I believe that was their spiritual contract. They were purposed to finance Lord Yeshua. Not that he couldn't have created or manifested that on his own, because he certainly knew how to create money or whatever, but there was an exchange of energy.
Well, I think that's your point, though. I think that's probably the biggest point. The biggest point is that people, if we're ministering or we're teaching people to manifest as much money as they want and saying you can have anything, then they're thinking, well, why don't you do that? Why don't you manifest as much money as you want? And I think that's one important aspect of this conversation that we're having, is if you're poor, and I say poor is, as Dave Chappelle put it, he said, poor is a state of mind. Broke is a fact, but poor is poverty consciousness, is a state of mind. Dave Chappelle's father says, son, we're not poor, we're broke. Poor is a state of mind. But this is why Deborah and I work. You can come to our channel and Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, they work with law of attraction. They teach you for free. There's plenty of information online to help manifest. And I can guarantee you from firsthand experience that if you use the teachings of them and us and many, many others to manifest, you can create the money you need for what you want. And I'll tell you one quick story. There was a Liberty League thing, which was a way to make more money, and it ended up, it was a bit of a Ponzi scheme in the end, I think. It was multi-level marketing. And my friend who was trying to make money on the internet was really encouraged me to go, it's really great, John, you got to come, it's going to be fabulous. I was living in London. He was it was in Barcelona. So it was £800 and I didn't have £800. And I went, I can't go. I just don't have £800. I had the couple of, probably the couple of 300 for the flights and the hotel for overnight because it was a weekend thing, but not the 800 to get in. And then I just said, well, I'll just manifest the 800, because I wanted it. I thought it was right for my growth. So if you think a spiritual teacher is right for your growth, for your path, and you get rid of and when I say get rid of, you work out a way to move away from any poverty or lack consciousness. So you've got to move in, I'm abundant, I can create it, money comes easily for me. You've got to affirm that getting money is not the big problem. Maybe keeping money might be, but anyway, all those affirmations, and we have affirmations for abundance on our channels, on our sister channel, I think Guy's Jam. Yeah. So I said, okay, I want this thing. This is going to help me grow. I'll manifest the money. The very next day, and I kid you not, this is hand on my heart, the very next day I had a call from a friend. I used to be a trainer and a life coach and a therapist and all those sorts of things as well as what I do now. And she said, look, I've got this training on stress for this corporation. I can't do it. Can you do it for me? It's worth £800. Yeah. It was like the gift came immediately. I didn't even have to wait a week. And I just went, I'll do it, book the flight, yada. And so what I'm saying is that it's your consciousness that is stopping that exchange more than the money, if you understand what I'm trying to say. If you really think that the teacher, let me just finish the point, darling. If you really think the teacher is going to help you along your journey, or the healer is going to help you heal, or the advisor is going to help you make the right choices, and you trust in your I am presence, you trust in God, you trust in whatever name you give, whatever it is, and you remove the poverty consciousness by affirming that money will come easy and money's your friend and it's an energy that flows to and from depending on your alignment, then I would expect that money would come to you quite easily to fulfill that contract, that transaction. Sorry, darling, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that, I used to say when I was in ministry, I used to say God is in the business of hearts, and I didn't actually totally understand what I was saying, but because I had a different belief system in terms of who God was and how we created and co-creating and manifesting and stuff like that. But I always use those words, and it's that specific thing. It is your heart condition towards what you're receiving, what you're exchanging. And if you can get that right, suddenly everything shifts. If there is a feeling of resentment and anger and envy, or any of those emotions towards that service or whatever, it's when you shift into a place of love and you understand that exchange that takes place. It's not about the physical money. It is the actual exchange of energy and the way you exchange it that creates the blessing or the flow into your life, the receiving of what you're paying for. And so why I'm saying that is you can go to anyone, a spiritual person or whatever, and be resentful at the $200 or whatever they're charging. It's that resentment that stops that flow. So when you start to flow in the love and the gratitude, that exchange is a mutual exchange, and then things start to shift in your life, your reality, and you start to manifest. And so, yeah, I think, so for me, the big question, what was the question again?
Question is, why don't spiritual teachers enlighten us for free?
Well, because, you know, they also have to live. Let's be simple, you know. Well,
they have to live, but that's really interesting what you just said. If you have any resentment, any anger, these are all low vibrational states.
Yeah.
Then you stop that flow. And in the law of attraction, see, Deborah and I come from completely different learning paths. And I would just say, if you're not in alignment in the law of attraction and in all those universal laws, if you're not in alignment, the doorway, how they put it in the law of attraction is, it's like a radio transmitter, and you tune into the channel. And if you're not on the channel of abundance, the abundance doesn't come because you're just not lined up to the channel. So you could be going, why isn't the money coming to me? Well, that's immediately that question is you're not on the channel.
Yeah.
The moment you enjoy in saying money comes easily to me, God looks after me, I am a manifester, I am a co-creator, I'm happy, and this person deserves everything they need so they can live a comfortable life because they've given me so much. As soon as you enjoy love and happiness and gratitude, you're aligned up. You're lined up, and the universe could just open a door that someone walks in and just says, oh, here's that £1,000 that you should have got for you. I can't even say where it's going to come from because it doesn't work like that. It's not like a check just gets handed and someone knocks on the door and said, here's the 1,000 you need for that course. It could be, you know, like the phone call I got. I've had a situation where I wanted to manifest my dream of moving to Greece because I knew, to a Greek island, I knew it would help my spiritual development. And I made a call. I thought I'd actually cashed in a pension, and I made a call just going, well, I wonder, and someone prompted me to make the call. I wonder what's going on there. And they said, yeah, we've got all these thousands of pounds waiting for you. No word of a lie, which enabled me to come here, which enabled me to meet Deborah, and all the things the beautiful things that have happened in my life in the last year have happened because of that one phone call. And, you know, so
but
when I'm saying
you were ready, you were in the right space to receive.
Well, the alignment is preparation. They say luck is preparation when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
So you have to be in the right headspace. You have to request the help. If you need help, you have to ask for help, and you have to give permission to be helped. And when all of those are correct, you're lined up, you enjoy happiness and gratitude, you've asked for help and given permission for help, then suddenly whatever the universe can provide will be open to you because you're all the boxes have been ticked, if that's the way. Yeah. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, yeah.
So that's it. Anything else?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. With gratitude for every moment of your time. I'm grateful to see Deborah's beautiful face in front of me, and we thank you again. And tune in and subscribe, like, comment, please, so we know what you want and whether you're getting something from this. Share and press the notification bell so you get the next one, which is coming along soon. And thank you very much. And it's goodbye from me.
And from me, sending you lots of love. Love you all. Bye.
Bye.